Thank you.
Too easy.
Ta. You should have ground sound now.
Yeah, I do. Thank you very much.
Right, cool. Did you need me to adjust it at all? Because it looks a little to the left.
Yeah, go right a bit.
Yeah. How's that?
We can tell you we're not soaked. Alright, yeah, cool. Yeah, that looks great.
Cool, alright.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to day 3 of the Australian Little League Girls Championships. We are here in Lismore, Australia, and this is not just an Australian first, this is a world first. That's right, a world first Girls National Championship for an all-girls division of the Little League Championships. We are here in the beautiful Northern Rivers region of New South Wales. And it is day 3, and we're here for the day 3 clash of the West Coast Rays, all the way over from Perth, who are 1-1 in the tournament, and they are up against the Adelaide Seahorses. Adelaide Seahorses are 1-2. We are a little bit behind schedule today. It's a beautiful bluish, greyish cloud here in Lismore, and we can see the Rays looking fantastic in their bright yellow and black uniforms. We're about to get underway here in Lismore. The West Coast Rays, we have Stevie Oates on the hill. And that first pitch, that is driven and just past the outstretched glove of the left fielder, Lucy Purvis, and that is a great hit to get things underway. Here in the first inning. Mackenzie Wigmore is the batter stepping in for the Adelaide Giants in the number 2 hole. You see that ball will get away from the catcher there. The Little League Championships is about 12 to 14 on each team, and what you will see in this tournament, unlike normal baseball rules where we have 1 to 9, each of the batters will actually bat through as Mackenzie Wigmore just drives that foul down the left field line. The entire lineup will be the 12 to 14 players. So we'll actually bat 1 to 14 or 1 to 13, depending on how many players you have. And that's a way to get everybody in the game. So we still obviously have the fielding 9, but we'll see every single batter come through. And Mackenzie Wigmore here at number 2 hole, looking to drive in the Seahorses' first run. That's a great pitch there. Okay, takes the count to 2-2. And that's on the ground to the second baseman. That will move the runner over, and an absolutely fantastic play there from the second baseman of the West Coast Rays. That is Monet Padfield over at second base, making that fantastic play. And that ball is driven just foul. And that's another great drive there. Up to bat now is Charlotte Winnett, who saw Charlotte Winnett start on the mound yesterday, actually, in the first game to Adelaide Seahorses. And she drives that ball to second base, and an absolutely fantastic play. A second absolute sports centre play there at second base from Monet Padfield. A great piece there from, as we see on the replay, absolutely smoked to the second baseman, Charlotte Winnett. She doesn't come up with a hit there, but she will get the RBI as the first run crosses the plate for the Adelaide Seahorses. Ball is just in the dirt. Chases a high one. As I said, the Adelaide Seahorses, they are 1-2. They opened their account on the first day with a 13-5 win against the New South Wales White team. And then in a high-scoring affair in a doubleheader they had on their first day. In their second game, they went down 14-12 to the Brisbane Rebels. And then yesterday, in one of the games of the tournament, the Victoria Bells walked off the Adelaide Seahorses 11-10. As we see, that ball is chased high. It was an absolutely cracking game yesterday with the Bells. If you haven't seen that replay or seen any of the highlights, an absolutely fantastic game for the Bells. So it's great to see them win that game. This is Cara Sykes from the Gawler Rangers batting now. Full count, payoff pitch coming. She will take a walk. Brings up Sasha Boundy. Sasha Boundy's also, there's been lots of players appearing on the mound. Sasha Boundy appeared in that first game for the Adelaide Seahorses in that win on the mound. She takes a big, big swing, Sasha Boundy, on that. She's from the Port Adelaide team. You see, that's a great throw over there. From the catcher, Heather Fielding. Heather Fielding, we saw some amazing plays in the field from her yesterday. Fielding by name, fielding by nature. And that's a drive and a great catch and almost a double play there. An absolutely sensational catch from Isla Calabeck over at shortstop. You know what? She almost got 4 outs on that play. Absolutely sensational. Middle of the second here. Adelaide Seahorses on the board early with one run here in the top of the first. West Coast Rays. As we see this replay here, scorching crack there. And Isla Calabeck. There was 3 out on that play, but love to see her going and try and get that, get the 4th out there. Wonder if you could take that 4th out, put it in your pocket, keep it for the next inning. It would be great if you could do that in baseball, but alas, we cannot. So we see the West Coast Rays will now come up to bat. Isla Calabeck will be leading off for the West Coast Rays. Sensational opening day yesterday, the Australian Women's Showcase. The event Baseball Australia's put on here is absolutely fantastic. We have the Little League in the morning at 9 a.m. Well, this game started at 9:30 due to the bit of water on the field that was sensationally picked up and mopped up by all of the spectacular volunteers and parents here to get this game underway. And yesterday evening, we had 2 Women's Showcase games, Brisbane Bandits and the Victoria Aces collecting wins in their opening day. And we see Isla Calabec stepping up to the plate. Isla Calabec is from the Balcatta Bears. Where's 44? Huge shout out to none other than the 44 in Jen Beacom. Jen Beacom, one of Australia's Emeralds and Australian baseball superstars, flamethrower left-hander. Where's 44? Well, wore 44 when she became the first woman to play in Australia's professional league for the Melbourne Aces a couple of years ago, and Jen Beacom part of the Victorian program, and absolutely just love the fact that we have a 12-year-old looking up to Jen Beacom, who's only a few years older herself and wearing 44. We have Kyla Ding on the hill for the Adelaide Seahorses. Pitching down to Charlotte Winnett. That's just a bit high, and we see Calabec will sprint up to first base for that walk, which will bring up Heather Fielding. Of course, these are 2-hour games or 6 innings. There are few rules. As I said, we bat through the entire squad list of 12 to 14 players. We also have a 6-run mercy run in the first 4 innings. And first pitch swinging, that's a pop-up to the catcher and just dropped, and they will call that foul. Catcher dropped it, and it was a great effort from, absolutely great effort from Charlotte Winnett there. It's not easy to catch those pop-ups. They've got a lot of gear. You've got to first work out what the ball is, first work out where you are, what to do with your helmet. So really good effort there. That's a nice pitch. And Kyla Ding, whose sister Dakota was part of the championship winning outfit, the under-15 South Australian team that won the national championships last year. And she takes that high pitch. She held that, and look, just like that, we see scurrying into third base. And now she will run home. And that will be the first run of the game as Isla Calabec goes from first all the way round to home on a couple of errant throws to tie the game here. 1-1. That is chopped just foul. And that ball is hit into right field, and a nice little 9-3 play there. Unfortunately, just after the runner has touched base, so good heads-up baseball there from Adelaide Seahorses, seeing an opportunity for that little sneaky 9-3. It's always great when you're on the fielding side of a 9-3. It is not great when you are on the batting side. That was Emma Padfield. Emerson Padfield, sorry, who got that hit to right field, bringing up Lucy Purvis. And Lucy Purvis from the Rockingham Rams. She will take that pitch and she will head up to first base with a hit by pitch. And we see Neve Tua, 10-year-old Neve from the Corinne Baseball Club. She loves taking catches. They're the best. And now she's up to bat. Let's see if she can get a hit. She might like getting hits too. That's a nice hack. Great hack there. That's a strike. That's a great at-bat for Kyla Ding, sending down Purvis swinging. Sorry, Neve Tua. Sorry, Neve Tua swinging as we see Michaela Buchholz from the Corinne Cats stepping in. That's a great pitch from Kyla Ding there. Takes the count to 1-2 on Michaela Buchholz. And that's a cracking shot. Hard hit shot for the second baseman. Another great effort there. A great effort from the right fielder to little heads up play, try and get the third out. Speedy Michaela Buchholz says, no, I will take first base. Runners on the corners now for West Coast Rays. Aubrey Mills is the next batter, the Kalamunda Rangers. Aubrey Mills. Shout out to Kalamunda Rangers if you're tuning in. She chops that ball straight back to Kyla Ding, and that's a great play by Kyla Ding to stop any further damage. But the West Coast Rays have tied the ball game here, and we see this replay. That's a great swing and a great pitch. But Kyla Ding, she is right there. Had a little bit more time, but she come up, throws a strike, and that is the out. And we will head to a break here in the bottom of the first. It is 1-1, Seahorses and Rays. Welcome back to Lismore. I am Amy McCann, Team Australia Emerald alumni, Victorian alumni. But today it is the All Adelaide West Coast Rays clash here at the Australian Little League Girls National Championships, the first ever world event for this category, as we see Bella Quolman to open the second inning for the Adelaide Seahorses in the batter's box. Sensational day here. Stevie Oates is on the hill, throwing to header fielding for the West Coast Rays as Quolman chases that. We have Buchholz, Padfield, Hadfield and Calabic in the infield, and Purvis, Mills and Jarvis in the outfield for the race. And she takes another big hack there. The aggressive swinging is one thing that's just really been great to see here from the Little League Championships. Really looking to put bat on ball as they get up there. That's a great opening pitch there to Isla Scott from the Goodwood Baseball Club in South Australia, in Adelaide, as she takes another hack at that. Isla Scott actually has hit a grand slam in her career, something I haven't done. It's pretty cool to have a grand slam and you're only 12. Huge future ahead for Isla Scott. And that is 2 Ks, 2 strikeouts from Stevie Oates to start. On top of this second inning. This will bring up Pippa Harris, Glenelg Baseball Club Pippa Harris. Talks about the Glenelg Baseball Club being her happy place. I think all of us involved in baseball, we know our baseball club as our happy place. It's somewhere we always love to hang out. Pippa's idol is actually her mum. Her mum has won back-to-back premierships for the Glenelg Women's Division 1, and her dream is to actually win a Division 1 premiership, just like her mum. And she might just do that with those skills. She's 2 down hit for Pippa Harris to centre field. And this is Kyla Ding who puts that on the board of the shortstop, and a great fielding effort, a great play. Wow, absolutely sensational baseball from Isla Calabic. And we see on the replay there, and she goes across, covering in the hole. She gets down, fields that ball, and comes up firing to get the force out, and a great slide there by Pippa Harris, but not in time for the throw. But that is a fantastic inning by the West Coast Rays, and the Adelaide Seahorses are kept scoreless. We will head to the bottom of the second here. As I said, we are in the Northern Rivers region of New South Wales. The New South Wales government and the Lismore region have been absolutely fantastic in making sure this event got underway. Had a little bit of rain in the lead up to the event, but absolutely fantastic efforts by all of the vast amount of volunteers, and also all the parents who be getting out each day and trying to mop up all the ground. We can see there's a massive contingent to my left from the Seahorses, huge contingent on my right for the West Coast Rays, and saw a lot of them out on the field yesterday and today, just giving the grounds crew a hand just to mop up the last bit of water and get the tarps off the field just to make sure that these games can go underway. So fantastic by everybody here. Always want to have a bit of a shout out to the umpires here, and we can see the umpires today. We have on the plate, we have Lillian King. First base, we have Matt Fraser is at first base, and Alicia Jury. Loving all of the spirit of these games, including the umpiring, and it's been absolutely fantastic to be involved in this event. It's been a couple of walk-offs. West Coast Rays actually won their first game on the first day on the back diamond. It wasn't broadcast, but they had a walk-off victory. Absolutely, we knew everything was going on. It was lots of screaming from the diamond behind us when we were calling a game. And West Coast Rays had that walk-off win. And then yesterday, the Victoria Bells walked off the Seahorses. Came back from actually a 6-0 deficit at one point, the Vic Bells, and that was just to see walk-off victories and see everyone get around each other here. It was absolutely fantastic. And as we start this bottom of the second inning for the West Coast Rays, we see that ball just gets away from Kyla Ding, who will stay on the mound, and this is Zoe Dussenberg on, well, up to bat, I should say. It's a great comeback there from Kyla Ding. And that's a pitch on the outside, and Dussenberg will have to head back. To bring up. This is Ruby Jarvie from the Wanneroo Giants, wearing number 22. It's a family number for the Jarvie family. So Ruby Jarvie is actually the only girl in her Little League team, and playing against them in a charter game, she actually got a few of them out, which we absolutely love to see in here. Big Jake Bowie fan from the Perth Heat. It's a nice pitch. That's a nice pitch from Kyla Ding. And that's a second strikeout looking for Kyla Ding to open this second inning. So you can see all the infielders are coming and just, they're letting her know about it. Real great appreciation from the little infielders there, just letting Kyla Ding let her know, you know what, we got your back. You're doing it all on your own at the moment, but you can if they hit the ball, we got your back. That's a nice pitch and a nice swing from the new batter from the West Coast Rays. This is Amber Mawani. Corinne Katz. She steps out of the way of that one. That ball is in the dirt. We caught up with Amber before the tournament. She said that the thrill of pitching, the excitement of batting, the love of sliding through the bases, it's all an amazing game. I love playing in the team bonds you make along the way. It's awesome. I have to agree with you, Amber. And we've got a 3-2 count now. Two strikeout lookings now. The payoff pitch, 3-2 count. Kyla Ding. And just like that, Kyla Ding strikes out the side looking here to end the second inning. A 1-1 ball game. Adelaide Seahorses. Kyla Ding doing it all on the mound here as we take a break. 1-1 Adelaide Seahorses. West Coast Rays. Welcome back to Lismore, the Australian Little League Girls National Championships, the world first Little League Girls only division of a Little League National Championships anywhere in the world. Yes, we are here in Lismore. I'm Amy McCann, Team Australia Emerald alumni, and we are on day 3 of these championships. We have the 1-1 West Coast Rays up against the 1-2 Adelaide Seahorses. We have Stevie Oates on the hill. We're in the top of the third. And it's a 1-1 ball game, so a bit of a cracking game here between West Coast Rays and Adelaide Seahorses, as we just see the catcher just making sure she's buckled up and ready to go here. So we see Kira Murray is up to bat now. Kira Murray. Adelaide Angels, Kira Murray. And she chases that high pitch, and that is foul just in front of me here. Great effort by the catcher there. Heather Fielding. I tip my cap to anyone that wants to catch. It's a tough enough sport, baseball. When you put your hand up to catch, absolutely sensational. And Heather Fielding doing a really good job down there. Heather Fielding's from the Rockingham Rams Baseball Club over in Perth. Stevie Oates on the hill. Corinne Katz, who have actually probably 6 or 7 players in this team. Corinne Katz are really prevalent in this team. And Stevie Oates, this is probably the second time I think I've seen her on the hill. She's got 99 is her playing top number. Number 9 is her favourite number. And she's like, you know what? Why not have 2 of them? And that is a swing and miss from Kira Murray to open the top of the third. As we said, it's 1-1 here. Adelaide Seahorses looking to even up their ledger at 2 wins, 2 losses with a win today. As I said, the West Coast Rays, they're already 1-1. Adelaide Seahorses had that double header on the opening game. They won a game, lost a game, and then lost yesterday in that walk-off by the Victoria Bells. As we see McKechnie for the Adelaide Seahorses. Brooke McKechnie. This is the first time playing for the Seahorses. It's a tournament of firsts for everyone here. We've heard a lot of stories from the players. There's girls who have had their first flight, first time away from the parents, staying away with a team. First time the girls have played in an all-girls team. And Brooke McKechnie hits that ball to third base, and third baseman comes up and fires a one-hopper across the diamond. Emerson Padfield to Michaela Buckholtz, retiring Brooke McKechnie. A little bit of a Sports Centre play there from the West Coast Rays. This will bring up Sienna McNamara, who we saw an absolutely sensational, spirited performance from Sienna McNamara on the hill yesterday. Sienna McNamara, one of the youngest here, the youngest on the Adelaide Seahorses. She's just 10 years of age. Sienna McNamara from the Gawler Rangers under 13 team. Shout out to Gawler. Some good batting there from Sienna. You see that is just chopped up in front of the pitcher here. And that is sensational base running from Sienna McNamara. Sienna Miller. A lot of names here to learn this week. A lot of new baseballers. As I said, this is the first time that all of these girls appeared at the Australian Little League Championships. First time I've called an Australian Little League Championship. So lots of names to learn, lots of jersey numbers to learn. It's a great job by everybody to get this event involved. Bree Ruskin the new hitter for the Seahorses. Another Adelaide Angels club member. And she takes that for a called strike. Sienna McNamara loving those pink sleeves over at first base. Outside for a ball. That is in the dirt. That's some good eyes there from Bree Ruskin as she will take first base. Bring us back to the top of the lineup. Kaya Weeks, who swings at the first pitch, but that will be foul onto the first base supporter dugout roof. That loud bang, if you can hear. I'm not sure if you can hear the chanting from both teams through the microphone, but some fantastic chants going on from each of the teams this week. And Kaya Weeks, she grounds that straight back to the pitcher. And that will retire the side. And West Coast Rays and the Adelaide Seahorses, we're going to head to the bottom of the third. It is a one-all ball game here. Some fantastic pitching from both teams, also some great fielding. So we have a little bit of ball game in our hands here. See the bit of magic dust being sprinkled over at first base there, just to fill in a little bit of the wet patches. Huge shout out again to the grounds crew here at the Far North Baseball Association. Just working through the hours. We saw the Australian Women's Baseball Showcase get underway yesterday. Quite a few rain delays yesterday, and we saw there was literally all hands on deck. We saw the Adelaide Giants and the Brisbane Bandits players, coaches, staff, everybody. We had Eric Bonner from Baseball Australia. We had Baseball Australia staff, everyone pitching in, whether they were raking, they were picking up dirt, they were putting the magic dust to soak up the water. It's been a tremendous all-around effort from everybody to get this event going. So shout out to everyone that's chipped in any way, shape or form they can. The women's and girls baseball community is just, it's just an amazing community. And as we can hear, well, I can hear, not sure if you can hear through the microphone, I can hear some very loud noises from the diamond behind us. There are 2 games going at any one time. Here at the Little League Championships, we have the Brisbane Rebels up against the Victoria Bells over on the other diamond. And just like this, they have a close one going over there. So 2-1 to the Victoria Bells. As I said, the Victoria Bells got on the board yesterday with just a memorable walk-off victory against the Adelaide Seahorses, and Victoria Aces women's team. We're all here to watch that live. So great to see the Bells get on board. So it's 2-1 in the middle of the second. As we come back to our diamond, Adelaide Seahorses. We see a pitching change here. We've got Sasha Boundy from the Port Adelaide club. Sasha was on the hill on day 1. So there are some pitch counts, and there's lots of rules in the Little League in regards to pitching multiple games or catching multiple games and how many pitches you can throw and things like that. A lot of protection for arms of young players, and there'll be a lot of people pitching over the first couple of days. Everyone wants to keep their pitches fresh and ready for that into that tournament. So Sasha Boundy comes up and throws that first pitch to Monet Padfield to open the third, bottom of the third. Double sevens for Monet Padfield. 7 is her birthday, so 7 is a lucky number. So I'm going to go 77. Jumps out of the way of that one. Monet Padfield's favourite part of baseball was rolling a double play against a boys team once. It's a pretty cool thing. Of course, Monet Padfield's sister Emma, also in this team. Lots of sisters across all the teams. Just like that, Sasha Boundy opens with a called strike as we see all the infielders coming in, just letting her know. We respect that. Remy Ellis. South Perth's Remy Ellis now up to bat. That's a great pitch by Sasha Boundy. Some sidearm action there, and that triggers that ground ball. And Sasha Boundy, who says pitchers can't field? Sasha Boundy, huge smiles as the infielders come in. A little bit of a high five, glove high five, glove love, and why not? That was a great play from Sasha Boundy, and that's the second out. As we see the new batter for the West Coast Rays is the pitcher, Stevie Oates. Let's see if Stevie Oates can get things started with 2 out here for the West Coast Rays. Just some creative footwork there. Gets her out of the way of that pitch. That's the 3-1 now, 2 outs. Bottom of the third here. Sasha Boundy comes back to take the count to full. The payoff pitch now, 2 out, full count. So just a bit wide, and that will keep things alive here for the West Coast Rays in the bottom of the third. Stevie Oates. This will be the 14th batter. Yes, 14. We do bat through the entire roster here in Little League. This is Isabella Leon. Isabella Leon had some cracking plays at second base yesterday in the game that I called earlier in the day. So go back and watch those highlights if you're an Isabella Leon fan. Isabella Leon's family is from Venezuela, and we know the Venezuelans are crazy for baseball. Ronald Acuna Jr., famous Venezuelan, as that pitch is high. Love Isabella's little batting stance there. And that left arm action again from Sasha Boundy. Gets that pitch in there. Takes the count to 2-1, 2 out. Stevie Oates moves across to second base. And that's a high pitch there. Evens it up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Isabella Leon with that go-ahead run on second base. Let's see if she can put the West Coast Rays ahead here. And she has lined that ball into right field. And Stevie Oates, she will be sent home as the ball is thrown into Sasha Boundy. And Isabella Leon with a cracking shot to right field. She's happy, and why not? Because her team, the West Coast Rays, are now up 2-1. Isabella Leon plating Stevie Oates. And the West Coast Rays fans, they're up and about here in Lismore. So we go back to the top of the lineup. This is Isla Calabeck. This is Isla Calabeck's first ever all-girls team. She's played with boys all her life, so love to know how she's enjoying these championships as that ball gets away, and that's a great throw from the catcher. Unfortunately gets away from the third baseman, and the speedy Isabella Leon, she will scamper home. I can see Leah Cornish, an Australian Emerald and Brisbane Bandit star from last night. Leah Cornish, great to see the current Australian Emeralds giving back to the Little League here. Leah Cornish is actually coaching with her dad, Leon. So there's Cornishes everywhere on this West Coast Rays team, and man, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old being coached by an Emerald. It's pretty cool stuff. See, that's Calabeck will take her second walk of the day. She walked and scored in that first inning. We see Ben Wigmore, Olympic silver medalist Ben Wigmore, coming out to talk to Sasha Boundy. And that will be Sasha Boundy's day done, as we see a new pitcher heading out. This new pitcher This is Bree Ruskin, the new pitcher for the Adelaide Seahorses. to see the sun shining here in Lismore. Hopefully can mop up some of the water in the field. Still a little bit of water around, but you can see I think the Little Leaguers getting pretty excited to get their pants dirty. I'm not sure who is on washing duty each night at the Little League. Wonder if they're getting their first taste of doing their own washing, as they will find as they progress up the ranks. The showcase girls and the national championship, there is a lot of washing duties by the players. So I'll be interested to know who's on washing duties, or if that's left to the coaches and the EOs. But there's a lot of girls getting pretty happy to be sliding out in the mud there, and I reckon I would have been the same too. Now the fielding, the new batter, West Coast Rays have busted it open with a couple of runs. It was a 1-all ball game coming into this inning, and Isabella Leon knocked that run in, and I think 2 runs in this ball game right now seems like 5 or 6 in a normal game. That is a great slide from Isla Calabeck. And that's just a bit high there from Bree Ruskin. Calabeck will take third. Fielding will take a walk. It's the 3rd walk this inning for the Seahorses. West Coast Rays scoring a couple of runs as we see Emma Padfield, who singled in the first inning, coming out for an at-bat. 2 down. There's a 2-out rally brewing down here after it was Stevie Oates who drew that 2-out walk, and since then kept the inning alive, and 2 runs across the plate. That's a hard-hit shot back to Bree Ruskin. She made an absolutely tremendous play on that ball, but unfortunately couldn't quite make the play. And she's going to make a play home, and unfortunately she's thrown that ball wild. But some great plays there from the Seahorses. Unfortunately, couldn't execute on the throws, but a couple of really good plays with a couple of really good glove work plays there. And West Coast Rays will cross 2 runners. As Emma Padfield will go all the way to 3rd base. That moves the score to 5-1 now, and this is now officially a big inning for the West Coast Rays. Still lots of time left in this ball game. Not even at the halfway mark. From an inning perspective or a time perspective, they are 2-hour games, 6-inning games. There is a 6-run mercy rule per inning in the first to the 4th inning, sorry. So if the West Coast Rays do score another couple of runs here, they will shut that down, and we'll head to the next inning. This is Lucy Purvis up to bat, and she will take a walk. We'll see Neve Tua from the West Coast Rays is the next up to bat. And that's a great hack from Neve Tua. Neve Tua actually was on a holiday in the Margaret River, and when the trials were held, and she actually said to her mum, I really want to try out. And said, Mum went, okay, if you really want to try out, we'll cut the holidays short, and they did. So paid off there, because now we see Neve here at the National Championships. And she takes a great hack there. Neve, just 10 from the Corinne Baseball Club. And that's good batting there, good eye there from Neve Tua. That's a great hack from Neve. Some great pitching from Bree Ruskin. Some good baseball all around, and a 4-run inning has blown this game open from the West Coast Rays. It's 5-1 West Coast over Adelaide, and we will take a break and be back here in Lismore in a minute. Welcome back to Lismore. It is a dry Lismore in the sky and the in the air. It's a little bit wet on the ground, but we are playing baseball. It is the West Coast Rays up against the Adelaide Seahorses, and the West Coast Rays just put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the third. It was a 1-all ball game after both teams scored in the first, then were scoreless in the second, and West Coast Rays have taken a 5-1 lead heading into the 4th inning here. You can see Stevie Oates doing a great job on the mound. She has pitched the entire game. She has 3 innings, only given up 1 run, 2 hits, and has 3 strikeouts, only walked a couple. So Stevie Oates, sensational performance here from the West Coast Rays. Is just going to call time and double check. Just double checking on a few things here. We can, a few changes each inning. We have a few different things, such as batting all the way through a roster, so 1 to 14, if that's how many plays you bring. We have a speed up rule for catchers if they get on with 2 out. We also have a rule if your pitcher is coming on, they can't actually come on from the field. So, for example, if your right fielder was you wanted to bring them onto pitch, they wouldn't need to come off, go into the dugout. They'll get a courtesy fielder, and then they can come back in pitching. So there is a lot of movement in the field at a Little League tournament. So just some checking here with the umpire, and we'll do a little bit of a score check over on the back diamond, because there is a lot of noise coming from the back diamond, and we can see that is the Victoria Bells, who have extended their lead to 4-1. They scored 2 in the first inning. Brisbane scored 1, a scoreless second inning. So sort of similar to the game here. So I think as the tournament goes on, we saw some nerves in that first game. I think a lot of players were just absolutely overawed by the the tournament and seeing all these professional players walk around as well, watching them. We had the Brisbane Bandits, Adelaide Giants and Victoria Aces were down watching the first opening game. So we saw yesterday starting to really see some great baseball. And as we see, we've got 2 cracking games going on at the moment. If you don't have the Game Changer app up, make sure you get it done. You can follow both games at the same time. Back here onto Diamond 3. Stevie Oates. It's a Mackenzie Wigmore. Mackenzie Wigmore grounded out to second base in the first inning. It's a great pitch there. And she lines that ball into right field and just gets past Isabella Leon, but Isabella Leon quickly goes and recovers and fires into second base. And that's exactly what the Seahorses needed here. 4 runs up. 4 runs down, 4 runs to the West Coast Rays in that previous inning, and absolute great job there from Mackenzie to get things going here with none out, runner on. Always want to do what you can as a lead-off and get on base. That's a ripped shot to second base and just up the line. Charlotte Winnett, who an absolute cracking shot to second base, almost identical. And she says, nope, I'm going to use my wheels and I'm going to get safe on this one. And Adelaide Seahorses looking to peg back this 4-run deficit here, and they're doing it in the perfect fashion. Runners on first and second, none out. This will bring up Cara Sykes. She walked in her first at-bat.
Go girls, go Seahorses.
Cara Sykes from the Gawler Rangers. She actually won the Gawler Rangers O'Brien Trophy. It's given to a junior player who shows promise in becoming a good baseballer. She actually thinks that's one of the best things she's ever won. So, yeah, she also plays hockey as well. She's a goalkeeper in under 14, so loves her sport, Cara Sykes. Hopefully she keeps loving baseball and we can see her continuing through the pathways Baseball Australia is providing all the girls and women now. Might see her at a youth championship for the South Australian team, which are the national champion Australian Championship team, South Australia. And that is scorched into left field from Cara Sykes. She climbs the ladder, but she lasers that one. No one able to score as the ball was hit so hard. It was already at the left fielder, I think, before Mackenzie Woodmore had a chance to advance to second base, from second base to third. And bases loaded with none out, and we see Leah Cornish, the Australian Emerald, represented Australia last year at the World Cup qualifiers at the WBSC event in Canada. Australia unfortunately not progressing through to the finals this year, but Leah Cornish, national champion with the Western Australian team last year, and this year took a year off, but we see her in a dual role here. She is with the Brisbane Bandits by night, West Coast Rays by morning. Busy week for the teenager, but Leah Cornish, if anyone can do it, Leah Cornish can. So I was talking to Leah Cornish yesterday, and she had some dual duties. She had to keep running backwards and forwards between training for the warm-up for the Bandits game last night, which they won against the Adelaide Giants. And she came back into the dugout. She'd go back and warm up. She'd come back in. And she said every time she came back to the West Coast Rays, they seemed to play worse. And I asked her, as we see Sasha Boundy up with the bases loaded, I asked her, what do you think about that? And as we were talking, the entire West Coast Rays team walked past and they all gave her a high five and they were starstruck. And I said, that's the problem. They're starstruck. You come back in the dugout and I think they're all just like, oh, Leah Cornish is in here. I said, maybe you should stay away. But no, we're just joking. Leah Cornish providing a great service to that team as that ball gets past the catcher, Sasha Boundy. Lets it go past and the bases will remain loaded. None out here. Sasha hits that ball on a line. Great fielding there from Remy Ellis to pick that ball up, step on the base, force out, but not before an Adelaide Seahorse run crosses the plate. It is now 5-2. Adelaide Seahorses runners on first and second, one out as we see Bella Qualman coming up to bat. That's a nice hack there from Bella Qualman. Bella Qualman, 10 years old, one of the two 10-year-olds on this team. Meeting new people and making friends is what keeps her coming back to baseball, and I think that's what all of us are here for, making new friends. Her mum, her dad, her sister, her uncle, her great-uncle, her cousins, her poppy, her grandpa and great-grandpa have all played baseball, so it's in her DNA. But unfortunately, this at-bat she strikes out. But that is the great thing about baseball. She will get probably another couple of at-bats today, and she's got more games left in this tournament. So Isla Scott up to bat now. Ball just gets past the catcher and the Adelaide Seahorses will advance on the bases. A nice hack from Isla there. Apologies. Great work behind us here from the local community, just getting the bit of the mud moved away. The Seahorses looking to peg back this 3-run deficit here. It's been a great inning so far. Still going with 2 out. Runners on second and third. And that ball is powered into left field. And that is a great catch out there Amber Mawani preserves the 3-run lead. That was a sensational swing from Isla Scott. But Amber Mawani, the West Coast Rays, they have got a player out there, and her name is Mawani, and she takes that. What a catch. One of the catches of the tournament. But the Adelaide Seahorses do take a run, and it is 5-3 now to the West Coast Rays. It is the middle of the fourth. As I said, we play 2 hours or 6 innings. Up until the end of the fourth, there is a 6-run mercy rule per inning. After that, in the 5th and the 6th inning, there is no mercy rule. Score check on the back diamond. 2 absolutely cracking games here today at Lismore. The Victoria Bells and the Brisbane Rebels, 4-1 in the bottom of the third. So it's almost identical games going on here on Diamond 3 and Diamond 4. We'll just take a break. We'll come back in a few minutes here in Lismore. We are back here in Lismore. The Adelaide Seahorses, 1-2, looking to even their ledger. They are currently down against the West Coast Rays, but they did peg back the score with a run, as we can hear more cheering over on the back diamond. Brisbane Rebels and the Victoria Bells having a great clash there. We see the Adelaide Seahorses here now. Bree Ruskin on the hill. Up to bat, we have Michaela Buchholz. She singled in her first at-bat. That's a great pitch, great swing. Kayla Buchholz wearing number 13. It's the same birthday as Taylor Swift. Plenty of Swifties, no doubt. I think if you head over to the Baseball Australia social media, we'll see a little video taken by the Bells yesterday. They had a bit of there's been some dance-offs, there's been some sing-offs. I think there might have been a Taylor Swift sing-off between 2 of the teams yesterday. Plenty of opportunities to do more things during the rain delay. And that's Michaela Buchholz chasing high there. Good pitching here from Bree Ruskin. Michaela Buchholz will take a walk to open up this inning. is Aubrey Mills. Aubrey Mills grounded out in her only at-bat of the day. The Kalamunda Rangers, Aubrey Mills. I think Michaela Buchholz actually took Aubrey Mills' favourite number in 13. That's why she's wearing 18. It's almost 13. Favourite thing about baseball is pitching. She says she's not the hardest thrower, but she throws lots of strikes, and she actually made some boys cry at the WA State Championships. They started laughing. A girl was about to pitch them, but she struck them out and grounded them out every at-bat. So I love that. Great opportunity for all of the girls here, getting an opportunity to play with all girls. Some of them actually will be going off with their charter teams to the National Championships in a few weeks, but this week it's all girls. And that's a strike on Aubrey Mills there. And that's strike 2. A couple of great pitches there from Bree Ruskin. Can't see on the screen, but we've got some cloud forming here. We're hoping we don't have a rain-affected day like yesterday, but right now Lismore is playing ball with us. She gets out of the way of that, does Aubrey Mills, and she will head to first. That's 2 walks here, so not what the Adelaide Seahorses would like down 3 after they just answered back with 1. Zoe Dussenberg heading up to bat. She wastes no time going after that first pitch. You can hear Leah Cornish, who knows a thing or two about batting. MVP, batting champion at the National Championships a couple of years ago when WA won. So I think I'm just going to start writing down some of those notes from Leah Cornish as she lets Zoe Dussenberg know to let the ball come to her. She chases that. She has an opportunity to head up to first base. The catcher makes a good play, but unfortunately, Zoe Dussenberg in the way of that ball knocks it down the line, and that allows Michaela Buchholz to cross the plate, and that will take it to 6-2. Maybe Jarvie from the Wanneroo Giants up to bat. Strike there. She chases that pitch, and the pitch is cover. That's a great bit of baseball there. Fantastic scrambling effort from the catcher to retrieve the ball from the backstop. And as we've seen all week, the pitcher's covers here at this Little League Championships have been great. I can't execute that play, and that will plate the 7th run for the West Coast Rays. Ruby Jarvie still up to bat. Full count on Ruby Jarvie now. Bases are empty. And she will drop the bat and head up to first. Starting things off again for the West Coast Rays. As we see Ben Wigmore heading out to have a chat to Bree Ruskin. That will be the day for Bree Ruskin as the Adelaide Seahorses will make a pitching change here. We might take a quick break. We'll go to commercial. It is 7-2, West Coast Rays over the Adelaide Seahorses. Welcome back to Lismore in the Northern Rivers region of New South Wales. It is the Australian Little League Girls National Championships and we are here at Diamond 3. It's the West Coast Rays up 7-2 over the Adelaide Seahorses. A quick score check in a cracking game over on Diamond 4. We have the Victoria Bells top of the fourth up against the Brisbane Rebels. The Victoria Bells had a fantastic walk-off victory on this diamond yesterday over the Adelaide Seahorses, walking it off 11-10. We have Amber Mawani, who took a scorching catch in left field to end that inning and the threat for the Adelaide Seahorses. And we see a new pitcher for the Adelaide Seahorses. That is Cara Sykes. And Mawani from the Corinne Cats. Cara Sykes from the Gawler Rangers. Gawler versus Corinne here in Lismore. And that's a swing and a miss, and she will make her way up to first base. No play for the catcher there on the strikeout, but with 2 out. The runner is automatically out at first base on a dropped third strike. If there was not a 1 out and there's a runner at first base, you can run up the line, but in that instance there was 2, so she is automatically out. But we do see Ruby Jarvie moving over to second base, so she's in scoring position with 2 out here. 7-2 West Coast Rays. We're heading into the last 45 minutes of this game. 6 innings or 2 hours these teams play. Each team has 2, as we see, Monet Padfield will wear that ball in her leg, but she's all good. High five and Leah Cornish at first base. See Remy Ellis, who made a great play at third base a couple of innings ago to field a sharp hit ball at her and step on the base and help the West Coast Rays get out of the threatening inning from the Adelaide Seahorses. Remy Ellis is from South Perth. I asked Remy Ellis the other day what is her favourite thing about baseball. She just said, I love being part of a team. So it's pretty cool thing, pretty good thing to have a favourite thing. There are lots of things to love about baseball. That is one of the best. She takes a big hack there. That's a great pitch again from Cara Sykes, and Remy Ellis right to chase these pitches. Cara Sykes with 2 outs. She's looking to do what she can to get the Seahorses back in the batter's box. So Remy Ellis will take first base on 4 balls, which brings up Stevie Oates. Stevie Oates' box score from her pitching outings, 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, only 2 walks. Great job from the 99, who's now up to bat. See Ruby Jarvie. She was looking to slide. She didn't need to. There was no play. Ruby Jarvie will score. That moves it to 8-2. And what was a really close affair for the first few innings is now blown out a little bit on the West Coast Rays side. They're still going here with 2 out. Runners on second and third. Stevie Oates. Got a walk and a run in the first inning, so hard hit ball might move score to 10-2. And she takes a big hack there, and the ball is up the line. And that's a great backhanded pick there from Mackenzie Wigmore. And that will end the 4th inning. 8-2, West Coast Rays, Adelaide Seahorses here in Lismore. We'll be back in just a minute. We are back here in Lismore at the Australian Little League Championships. It is an 8-2 ball game. Some fantastic fielding, and we have a special guest joining us here in the booth. None other than Australian Emerald head coach Jason Pospisil. Jason, you've been sitting here, you've been walking around watching the games, not just today, but the last couple of days, and this game, it's sparked your interest.
Yeah, there's been some really good young talent that we've seen over the last couple of days, and like I might have said yesterday to people that were listening to the call, it's a fantastic sight to see these young girls having a chance to play in their own tournament and create a little bit of history, and weather conditions have made it probably a little tougher for some of them, but yeah, they've been really, really good. It's been a good event so far.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering who does the washing on the Little League team, because there's a lot of girls out there not looking too worried about getting dirty. I think at this age I'd be loving sliding around in this mud, and I reckon on the last day there's potentially going to be some sliding practice out there and some very muddy pants being taken home to the respective states as we see the new batter Pippa Harris for the Adelaide Seahorses. And Jason, we saw the Australian Women's Showcase get underway last night, and we saw two football score type scores. We saw the Brisbane Bandits victorious and the Victoria Aces taking a win, both over the Adelaide Giants in their doubleheader, and probably not, as we see that ball was chased high, probably not some of the baseball we'd want to see. A few too many walks from the Adelaide Giants there, but I guess from you, some of the takeaways from last night's two games?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, a couple of blowout scores. I think it just highlights the areas as a country that we definitely need to improve in our pitching and our defence. I don't think that those two were up to international standard last night. There's no doubt. Again, I've said offensively we can compete. You know, when you look at, 19 and then 20 plus runs, I think, in those two games. So having said that, in defence, especially Brisbane and Adelaide getting everyone together for the first time only the day before, probably dusting off some of the cobwebs, some of the girls from nationals, and then hopefully we see in the next couple of days some better quality baseball.
You see Kyla Ding up to bat, and I think we saw that even in the Little League first day. There was a lot of bigger scores, and I think a lot of the girls were excited. They probably hadn't slept. They'd been on their plane for the first time. They're away from their parents, probably had 7 bags of lollies, slept at 3 a.m. So we've seen the Little League games have just increased every single day. So today we have a doubleheader for the Brisbane Bandits. They're up against the Adelaide Giants and then the Victoria Aces. And I think from an Australian perspective last night, Ali Bebere, fantastic on the hill. We saw some great hitting performances, I think, from a lot of the Emeralds. And we see that's a line shot to second base. Comes up, great play, unfortunately unable to make that play, but Adelaide Seahorses starting something here on the top of the 5th. Yeah, Ali Bebere for the Victoria Aces, good signs from her.
Yeah, she threw the ball pretty well. I mean, I've seen her probably a little bit sharper in some of her outings. I don't think last night she was as sharp as she would have liked, but the big thing for her was she only had one in the war column, and that's a big thing, being able to throw consistent strikes and allowing the defence to play behind her is obviously advantageous to winning baseball. So yeah, she threw pretty well. She was arguably one of our better arms in the World Cup on her debut last year in Canada. She threw the ball extremely well against the USA and then against Canada, I believe. And so we, it's something I think most people would expect of her now, really. Seeing her for the last 2 or 3 years, the national championships, it was just her MO, throw the ball over the plate, she gets people out.
And one of my multiple standouts, I think, last night, which is what we want to see, is the internationals that have come out here. And I think Muramatsu behind the plate. She got 2 games. She was bouncing around in the last 10 minutes of that game like she was a Little League girl who's just come in for her first game. And Tanaka taking a screaming catch in centre. We had Hashikawa at third base, 2 spin moves. And obviously we see the Canadian put it out and Padgham on the mound. And that, I think, is important. Would you agree, for the Australian girls to see that and go, that's the standard I need to be?
100%. That's our competition. That's what we're up against. And you saw Padgham last night. She was 74, 75 mile an hour. Her slider is an upper echelon pitch at international level. And obviously Alizé Jelena with a homer to centre. She's got international calibre power. So, and obviously, it's very, very rare you see a Japanese player that can't defend at an international calibre level. So some of those plays defensively last night that they made were outstanding. So yeah, and it is. It's a bit of a wake-up call, I think, to some of our players and us as a nation. For our players need to look at that and go, okay, well that's our competition. That's what we're competing against, and that's the level that we need to strive to achieve to be able to win a world championship one day.
Bit of fun in the fog last night as well. I think that fog rolled in and then it dropped and that ball went out to Morgan Doty. It just shows one of the best centre fielders I think I've ever seen in my time. She couldn't see the batter and yet she took that fly ball like it was just training drill. Yeah,
they saw the ball a lot better than I expected. I was sitting behind home plate last night in the stands, and at one stage there you could not see the three outfielders. You could just see the infield. And a couple of fly balls that were hit, and as soon as they were hit, my first reaction as a spectator was, where's the ball? I can't see the ball. And for the girls to be able to track it down, they obviously had a better view than we did in the stands. But yeah, there's no doubt Morgie's an outstanding defensive centre fielder, and she ran down a couple of balls in the World Cup, ran down a couple of balls last night, and you can make an argument she's in the top two, probably 2 or 3 defensive centre fielders in the world right now.
Without a doubt, I think Morgan Doty, as we see the Adelaide Seahorses plate their 3rd run of the day. Brooke McKechnie doing a great job there as we see the umpire just asking a couple of questions here of maybe a runner left too early. I think that might be what happened.
I think
here.
There might have been catcher's interference on that play.
Okay.
Even though the ball was put in play, I think I heard a tip of the catcher's glove, so catcher's interference. No, that's wrong. It's not catcher's interference. It's catcher's interference. The hitter would get first base.
Yeah, I think it's I think they've left early. I saw this yesterday. If she leaves before the pitcher lets go of the ball, the umpire at 3rd base will call them back.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Morgan Doty is just, I call her Benjamin Button. I think that she's just aging backwards. Like she's 30 now, and she looks like she's 16, and she's hitting that winning run, walk-off one for WA in the 2010 Nationals. Yeah, hopefully we can hang on to her
She's a great athlete. She's a great athlete.
Amazing.
Yep.
One of my things, I never got to play a World Cup with her. I retired and then she took over, and that ground straight back to the pitcher. But the Adelaide Seahorses, a great play all round there. Great job from Lucy Purvis, who is the new pitcher from WA, and that's a great job there. A couple of runs for the Adelaide Seahorses, but also great fielding there from the West Coast Rays. And that is 8-2. That run will not cross the plate. Sorry, will not score as they get that out. So only the 1 run for the Adelaide Seahorses. What was some of the other plays we saw? Obviously, the Victorian team with a 27-run win, and the Brisbane Bandits similar scoreline as well in that game. From an offensive perspective, what did you see from, I guess, some of the Emeralds hitters outside of the walks?
I think, listen, there was a couple of balls that were hit extremely hard last night. So again, their intent to do damage at the plate was there across the 2 games. I think offensively, the winning teams did a really good job of managing the strike zone. I spoke about that a little bit yesterday in regards to the constant battle between pitcher and hitter. The hitter's trying to keep the pitcher in the strike zone to give themselves a higher chance of success, and then once the pitcher gets ahead, they're trying to get you to expand. And I thought the 2 teams that scored the runs last night did a really, really good job of keeping pitcher in the strike zone and was able to do some damage. So, anytime you score 19 or 25, there's obviously a mix of good offensive play plus probably some walks and defensive miscues, which is what we saw last night. So hopefully we see some better calibre games today and over the next few days. That's what I think the majority of baseball fans would want to see. And Adelaide, I think Adelaide will be better for the run. You see, it's always hard to have the doubleheader the first day.
Yep.
They definitely drew the short straw in the schedule by getting the doubleheader on the first day. But that's baseball. It happens. One game today and then one game on Saturday. So they've got to get through 10 innings worth of pitching. So they burnt through a few arms yesterday, Adelaide, which was unfortunate. So that might put them in a little bit more of a peculiar position today. But I'm sure they've got enough arms to get through 5 innings today.
Yeah, I think that the hope is that they went through a lot of arms, but those arms had some low pitch counts, and that's what they'd be hoping. As Isabella Leon, who a crushing shot to the outfield in right field in her first at bat, actually hit in the second run. We were locked at 1-1 for 2 innings, and Isabella Leon with 2 out crushed the ball to right field, knocked in Stevie Oates. And then the floodgates sort of have opened in this game since then. And Isabella Leon's her family's from Venezuela, so...
Baseball's probably in their blood, I'd say. National sport of Venezuela.
Yeah, wonder if she's a Ronald Acuna Jr. fan. And that pitch is taken high. And score check on the back diamond. Victoria Bells now up 7-1 over the Brisbane Rebels. That is at the end of the 4th. We're coming into the last 20 minutes of both these games. So Victoria Bells looking like they might pick up their 2nd win in a row after their fantastic walk-off victory over the Adelaide Seahorses here. So we see Isabella Leon draws that walk. Brings it back to the top of the line for Isla Calibec, who's walked twice and scored twice today. Nice production from your leadoff.
Stolen base. You don't see that too much in Little League, the stolen base.
No, Isabella Leon, she can do it everything. She took a great catch yesterday.
She can fly.
She's it's not much of her, but she's a speedy little thing. So looking forward to tonight. No, I'm looking forward to Brisbane Bandits versus Adelaide Giants, but I think after the 2 victories yesterday, I think a lot of people will be looking forward to seeing how the Brisbane Bandits and the Victoria Aces match up. And it's such an interesting dynamic. The Victorian Aces is effectively the Victorian team with some imports in that. And then the Brisbane Bandits All-Stars, mixture of Brisbane or Queensland players, New South Wales and Adelaide. And interesting to see. What are you hoping, what are you calling on that game?
I'm interested to see who they match up in the pitching. You look at Brisbane, they've got, you think Claire O'Sullivan might start one game today. Not sure who they're thinking in the other game. But and then Melbourne, obviously Lily Kavanagh and Jess Johnson. So hopefully, like it. Oh, that's a nice play. Unlucky. That was a nice play by the catcher. Backhand flip.
Isabella Leon scores the 9th run.
So yesterday we were talking a little bit about, I was talking about pathway and now having the Little League division here by itself leading into youth women's and then also into the open women's. I was having some discussions with some people around last night, and one of the ideas that come up that I really liked, which I think might be something we potentially can look at moving forward, is we have the Little League. Ball's hit hard. There's a lot going on in that play.
Isla Calabeck makes her all the way round to third base. Sorry, Heather Fielding will make it all the way around to third base. Isla Calabeck did score.
Just one of the ideas that popped up last night, which I really like the idea of, is we have Little League, which is essentially 12 and under, right? And then the youth women's age bracket is 12 to, I believe it's 12 to 15, right? And then once you go to 16, you can play in the open women's. There's a big gap there for girls that are, 12, 13, trying to compete against girls that are 14, 15 in the youth women's. So one of the ideas is we have the Barclay Cup, which is obviously a tournament which is a tribute to the late Jacinda Barclay. Do we look at having the Barclay Cup having an age division of, say, under 14? So Little League, go and play 2 years, 13, 14 into the Barclay Cup, or sorry, 12, 13 in the Barclay Cup, and then your 14 and 15-year-olds graduate into the Youth Women's Nationals, and then into Open Women. So there's a very clear, defined pathway with two-year increments. So the Little League, this is obviously a fantastic event. We've created history here in our country. The next step for some of these girls is, well, can you, as a 12-year-old, how many 12-year-olds are realistically going to be able to go and compete at the Youth Women's against 14 and 15-year-olds? The chances of that, it's slim. The percentage is low.
Yep.
So do we create another tournament there, or sorry, an age division within the Barclay Cup of, say, under 14, so 12 and 13, or 13U, so 12s and 13s and potentially 14s play in the Barclay Cup, and then your next step for that is hopefully into your youth women's state team. And I think that way that there's that ball smashed.
Cracking shot there into right field from Heather. No, that's Emma Padfield. Emerson Padfield. She stands up, and we've got a bit of a double celly. Maybe she's just cracking the bat, having a cough. Maybe it is a double celly. She's crushed that ball into right field. And Heather Fielding will take the score to 11-1.
Yeah.
Sorry, 11-2.
Yeah, because my understanding around the Barclay Cup too is that there is a very, very good pool of players that attend the Barclay Cup from interstate. So to me, it's almost like there's teams going to the Barclay Cup as somewhat representative of their own state anyway. So, do we look at having, okay, we have this Little League tournament, the girls from here that are too old go and play in the Barclay Cup at 13 and 14, and the better 14-year-olds then have the opportunity to go and play with the 15-year-olds in the Youth Women's Nationals, and then they graduate onto the Open Women's and hopefully international baseball. So, that way there's a very, very clear and defined pathway for female baseball players in our country.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think with the Barclay Cup now, they've had 3 editions of that, and I think that was a really great thing while the Youth Nationals was in a bit of a hiatus, and we've seen the Youth Nationals come back in. We've got the Barclay Cup, we've got the Little League. So now it's about really trying to shift those pieces to make sure that, as you said, it's a catch-all for, okay, yes, we've got the 10, 11, 12-year-olds here. We've got the different abilities of that next bracket and how that goes across the Barclay Cup age group into the youth, and whether or not that pushes the youth up maybe one more year, and you mix that Barclay Cup in that middle bit there. I think that there's still, for me, I still think that there's that year out of the youth that we're still losing those girls, a year or two out of the youth. We're losing those to the elites because it's still a massive jump in to be playing up against the likes of the Emeralds and things like that. So that's a whole part of this evolution. I think if we go back 5 years, I know we're going back 5 years into COVID, but we go back, all we had was the Youth Nationals. And now we look at these, and they all, as you said, they all need to shift and move around. And who knows, in future years, we may actually have an under 18 national championships. We might be able to bring back the under 23 Australian women's teams and things like that. As we see more pathways, we'll see more participation, and that evolution will just continue. And it's just so exciting to see these things starting to put into place. I would have dreamed to have this, and you pretty much played your nationals, and if you're old enough and good enough, you made the Australian women's team, and if you didn't, that was it. And now there's just so many opportunities, and I think at a national championships level, do we have a look at potentially not a B nationals, but do we look at another opportunity for, say, each state putting a development side in, and then having a competition of its own?
I find it quite odd at times. I get asked this question a lot from people around the country. Well, what is Baseball Australia doing for women's baseball? And the answer to that, they're doing plenty. Like, we've created history here. The opportunities now that female players have far, far surpasses what they had in the past. And you look now, you have the Little League division that we see here. You've got the Barclay Cup, you've got the Australian Youth Women's Championships, you've got the Open Women's National Championships, you've got the Australian Women's Showcase. There's, 6 events now or 5 to 6 events that I've just said that we did not have 20 years ago, besides, the Open Women's Nationals. That was it. So there's 5 extra events that Baseball Australia and the state associations have been able to come up with in the past, say, 15, 20 years. And when people ask me all the time, well, what are we doing for women's baseball? There's almost part of me that wants to say, you're living under a rock. Because there's plenty more opportunities. And Baseball Australia, I think, are to be commended for what they are doing in regards to female baseball pathways. I think, to me personally, this is just my own opinion, I feel it's a question that is asked a lot around and based around the success of the Emeralds. Because the Emeralds haven't qualified for the Super Round in the last 2 World Cups, people assume that there's nothing being done for baseball in this country and for women's baseball in this country, which I disagree with. You have to take away the results that the Emeralds have had in the last 2 World Cups. We are giving female baseball players so many opportunities now than they've ever had. And that's all you can do, is provide people with opportunity. When you look at the World Cup success, are we doing, from a national team point of view, are we doing stuff better than what we did in the past? Well, results would suggest no, but I beg to differ. I think what we do now with female athlete development, again, is it more advanced than, say, 20 years ago when you played? I think what's happened is that other countries around the world that have bigger populations of players, bigger pools of players, have jumped on board with the development of female baseball and have started to prioritise it. And now they've surpassed us. Simply through population. Look at Mexico. Mexico hadn't qualified for a World Cup ever. And then Mexico, we played them last year, and they beat us. But some of the players they had in that team, world-class international players. 20 years ago, no one knew about Mexico in baseball. Look at Chinese Taipei, where they've come from, second in the world. Even European countries, Netherlands and France, and Puerto Rico, Venezuela. Venezuela have been around the women's scene for a long time, but never been really, you would say, successful.
We're waiting for them to break out.
What are they ranked now? 4th in the world or something like that. Simply by to me, it's strength of population, and you combine that with the national federations in these countries that are starting to put more of a priority on women's baseball and giving women's baseball and women's baseball players more opportunities internationally. I think that's where countries have surpassed us. I don't think we're doing a lesser job of player development. I just think other countries have surpassed us through strength of population.
Agreed, and that's a great fielding play by the pitcher Mackenzie Wigmore to retire Michaela Buchholz.
20 years ago, you could argue that us as a country, Australia, in conjunction with probably the USA, Canada and Japan, world leaders in female baseball development in the world. We were perennially a top 4 team in the world, And then as it's gone on, other countries have started to, like I just mentioned, place more of an emphasis on the development of female baseball, and their women's program, and through strength of population have surpassed us.
I completely agree with you, and I was around 20 years ago. That's when I started my career, and definitely seeing today, it makes my heart smile to see what Baseball Australia is doing. Baseball Australia are doing great things, and I would love to have had this when I was playing, but we see now the Emeralds are funded partially. We see the girls are receiving payments here for the showcase, and we're seeing events like this, women's baseball in this country is on the up, and it is absolutely a treat to see people like you involved at the head of the Emeralds, and to see this kind of sportsmanship or sportswomanship here at the showcase here, and a fantastic event and a win here for the West Coast Rays over the Adelaide Seahorses. And Jason, thank you for joining me again. It was a little bit of a brief stint here, but thank you.
You're
again.
welcome. No problem. Pleasure.
We'll no doubt speak to you before the week is over. There's still a few days of baseball left, so we will end the game here with the West Coast Rays victorious over the Adelaide Seahorses. There is another game in about 45 minutes. We'll see you back here soon in Lismore.